Hey, welcome back to High School Game Day here at the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Brought to you by Central Bank of the Ozarks, no propane, Labor's Local 663, the Bank of Billings, Missouri State Highway Patrol, who reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Certainly glad that you have tuned in. We welcome to High School Game Day, Jason West, the Communications Director at Missouri State High School Activities Association. And Jason, thanks so much for your time today. I know it's really busy right now with all the fall sports kind of coming to a close.
We're certainly ramping things up and starting the postseason runs for several of the fall sports.
Yeah, and a lot of action here right here in Southwest Missouri. And I know you guys are making your way down here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Kind of tell us a little bit, the viewers, about what's going to go on and where they can kind of consume their fall sports.
Well, it starts this week actually with the girls tennis championships, the first weekend of that. Those are going to be the singles and doubles qualifiers. That's going to be out at Cooper Tennis Complex starting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, girls golf championships. We've got 4 sites. Silo Ridge is one site. Again, this year, River Cut is another one. So we've got 4 sites going on there. And then that weekend, Friday and Saturday, will be the team tennis championships out at Cooper. And then after that, we'll also do the fall softball championships out at Killian. So rounding out October, a lot of action down in the Springfield area.
And Jason, as you look at what's coming up here, folks, are they still encouraged to buy tickets online, or how does that work?
Yeah, we still have digital tickets, and for all of our championships, that there'll be the digital ticketing. There won't be any tickets sold on site, so you can go online. There's an icon on the MSHSAA website that will take you there. We'll have some signage at venues as well, pointing people in the right direction. But you'll have a digital ticket to get scanned to come in. As of right now, we don't have any restrictions at any of our venues. So we do encourage anyone that would like to come check it out.
What is a typical day? And I know that you and I have been in around each other during the state basketball championships, state football championships. And you're just, it's nonstop crazy. You've got to keep stats, you've got records, you've got attendance figures you're looking at. When you look at these fall events, I know softball's coming up a little bit later, but in tennis, kind of what's your role, and kind of what does a day look like in the life of Jason West?
Well, especially for the singles and doubles championships, there's constant action. We have 3 classes of tennis and trying to get all of them on. And each day, I believe there's 4 different rounds that will be taking place. So there's lots of movement, and just trying to coordinate all of those results, get them posted to our website and get them out as best we can, so people kind of know how things are going. That's one that there's a lot of downtime, some hurry up and wait, if you will. We hurry up, get ready to go play. We play a match and then may not play for another hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours, depending on the result of it and what round we're in. So there's a lot of waiting time and people trying to figure out when they need to be ready for the next round and their next match. So that's a lot of the movement of just making sure we have all of the results up. People know when they may be able to play, when a court becomes available. So they're not just sitting there for 3 hours. They're given a time of not before this time, and then they check in and they get their court assignments. So there's a few logistics there, especially this weekend with the weather forecast. It calls for a lot of rain, so we may be playing most of those matches indoors instead of having the full outdoor allotment of courts. So that puts the time in between matches even further, because there's fewer indoor courts, obviously, than outdoor courts. So that's the biggest key of just making sure we get the results up in a timely manner so people can start adjusting their schedules accordingly.
And Jason, and again, we're visiting with Jason West, the Director of Communications for Missouri State High School Activity Association. And Jason, you've added MSHSAA and its members have added classes, to some of the fall sports and even some of the spring sports. What the feedback that I'm getting is very positive. What's the feedback that you're getting there at MSHSAA?
Similar to that, very, very positive with the change in the classification process, the addition of the championship factor for non-public schools. It has caused a ripple effect, if you will. And so there are some schools that are in the new classification, but there are also a lot of schools that may still be in the same classification they've always been, but maybe those hurdles that they've had to get over to advance in the postseason are not there. Those hurdles have moved on to a different class. And so we've seen a lot of schools have some success in sports and activities that they hadn't been before. They've been very competitive, but they hadn't seen the reached the level in the postseason that they're currently experiencing. And so it's been very rewarding and thus, a lot of positivity to their program.
And Jason, as you look at, we've been very fortunate here in Southwest Missouri that we've got facilities, outside turf on a lot of the facilities, baseball, softball, things of that nature. Where are the contracts at with regards to, the fall sports and even the winter sports with basketball as we go in? Where are we at as far as being able to host those, and when do those come up for maybe rebidding?
Well, I think right now we're pretty steady. I believe volleyball is one that should come up for bid at the end of this year. Baseball out at US Ballpark still has a couple more years on that contract. I believe softball still has a couple of years left on that. So we're pretty solid footing as far as all of those sports. I believe volleyball is the only one that's going to be coming up the soonest, that at the end of this year. Basketball, I believe, still has 2 more years on it as well, maybe 3. So still a couple more years before those will come out.
Well, I've got you here kind of to wind up here, but a huge congratulations and just shout out to, because in reality, you go back to last year, didn't think we were going to get any of the fall sports in. Coming into this year, you kind of had the new variant coming in, but kudos to MSHSAA and its member schools and the athletic directors and the administrators of all these schools that have been able to kind of quash this. And I know we've missed a few events here and there, but nothing like what I thought was going to happen. And were you surprised that all of these events have gotten in?
Yeah, it was a very nice surprise. We go from having the class 1, 2, 3 championships and waiting for the phone call to come through and basically barely getting through that, 2 years ago, and then having to cancel the 4 or 5 weekend at that time, to last year having all of these questions at the fall. But everyone did come together and did what they needed to do to make sure that they weren't the reason to end the season. And we were able to get it. We were one of the few states that was able to play all of their championships. There were some states that just now are getting back into their classrooms and their school buildings to be able to start anything. So we were very fortunate that, and I think that's a big shout out to our member schools for implementing their plans. They knew what needed to take place at their level, and the parents and the students and the coaches all banding together and understanding what needed to be done to be able to get to the playoffs and actually have contests and not have to cancel anything. And so, great job all around there of everyone that came together and supported each other and trusted their opponents. That's a big factor. You want to have that trust factor on your team, but now you've got to have that trust factor for the team on the other side. And everyone was able to come together and we were able to pull everything off.
Any new rules or anything that's coming down here for the winter that you're able to discuss that's going to affect either swimming and diving or wrestling or basketball coming up here in the very near future? I mean, we're right around the corner here as we go into mid-October. It has flown by.
It really has. And there's not too many new things. There are a couple of new bylaws that have gone into place. One dealing with open facilities and practices. Probably the one that affects the most is the change in season limitations and number of contests and things like that. As you know, in the past, a lot of the team sports have had different options on how many games they could schedule, 16 games and 3 tournaments, 18 and 2, those type options. And this year, everything is just a straight number. So, softball, for example, instead of having the 18 and 2, 16 and 3, whatever, it's 36 games. Or volleyball, for instance, it's 36 matches total. That's going to include all of your matches you would play in a tournament or, just duels. So instead of having to remember which option I'm in, now everyone knows it's just a flat, this is the number of games I can play.
Now, will that affect basketball? I know because you've got, for example, you've got the blue and gold tournament where you can play 4 or 5 games now with the losers bracket side of that, but that runs over a holiday, which allows for the 2 16-team brackets.
Right.
What effect does it have on basketball?
The basketball, I believe it's 26 games. Don't quote me on that. If my memory serves me, but yes, it's the same for basketball. It's a flat number of games that you can play.
Well, outstanding. Well, Jason, we certainly appreciate you being generous with your time. You've always been very generous with your time. And I know you're very busy and you've got to prepare, maybe load a few trailers to head down here, but always great to catch up.
Not a problem. Anytime. Thanks, Guy.
You bet. You're listening to and watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage.